Hello everyone and welcome back to part 2 of my houseplant tour for winter of 2019. If you watched part 1 where we did the kitchen and the living room, which you should before you watch this one, we went through a bunch of houseplants, but I will say I think that I keep my most interesting plants in my bedroom. We're going to start off with the bathroom and keep the bedroom for last, but let's go ahead and get started. We are here in my bathroom in the east-facing windowsill that is frosted to, for privacy, but it also does keep the direct sunlight off my plants, which is only some morning sun, so it's not too bad. But right here I have another Peperomia argyria, or watermelon peperomia. Very big compared to my last one. This one is very new to me, one of the newest plants I have acquired recently, as well as a Cryptanthus vividatus. This plant, if you give it a lot more sunlight, will get very, very pink, but since it's only in an east-facing window, it's kind of dulled back to green. You can kind of see some of those pink tinges, and it's got a little baby growing in right there. Really fun, really underrated plant. And then another kind of bromeliad right here that I had received from a plant friend through the mail. Don't know what kind of bromeliad it is, but I've been really enjoying watching it grow, and it's been very easy to grow, although my cat likes it a little bit more than I do, if you can see by these tips that are a little chewed off. And then right here is a Ficus lyrata. So I get a lot of questions about an update on the fiddly fig that I had cut and propagated in the fiddly fig propagation video. So I will say I totally neglected the one that I had cut in that branch, so that one died. It was just from underwatering, nothing else. But this is the one that I had propagated the top of. And it has put off a few leaves for me. This one has a little bit of red, so I believe that's edema. So either I'm giving it too much light in this window, or I am giving it a little too much water at a time in the soil. But other than that, this plant has been growing very, very well. And then back here is an asparagus fern that has been growing absolutely lush for me. I struggled with this at first, but as soon as I put it in a bright windowsill and it's in the bathroom where it gets a lot of humidity when we shower, this plant has really grown out and just has a little bit left of its yellow growth that I need to cut back. But other than that, this plant is huge and really just kind of taking over the windowsill, as you can see. And then the last plant in the window, hiding in the back, is this another Sansevieria cylindrica bonkel. So just like the starfish snake plant that I showed you guys in part 1. And then up here is a Phalaenopsis orchid that's about to bloom. I'll pull it away so you can get a little bit of a better look at it. And then this is a Sansevieria fernwood, just a baby. I think I got this at like Trader Joe's or something. And then a little baby Sansevieria that I just pulled off my mother plant that I had purchased from my work. And then there's a few more plants in here. So up here is a Peperomia boyvenii. Looks very similar to Peperomia hope. The only difference I know is not exactly cosmetic, but it's that Peperomia hope is a patented version that was like, a cultivar of two species that are, hybridized together, versus this is a species plant that's recognized by botanical gardens. I got this one from Steve's Leaves. There's also a Haworthia down here on top of our toilet. That's just the fairy tale washboard Haworthia. Really, really fun. I think it's Haworthia limiifolia. Not getting enough light probably, but I've had this plant for so long that it's just been kind of chilling doing its thing for a pretty long time, so I'm cool with that. And then the last plant in here is this Monstera sultipacana that I have been kind of nursing back to health. It wasn't very happy in its old environment, but we're getting there. It doesn't really have the silver markings that it's known for, but it's growing some leaves for me. So as you can see, it's kind of bare, so we're getting back to its roots. Alrighty guys, we're gonna move over to the bedroom now, which has the most exciting plants. So the last room to check out is my bedroom, which is where I keep all of the coolest plants, as I've been saying this entire video. But we're gonna start here on my nightstand, which is enveloped by plants, but I really only need this space right here to put my glass of water at night, so making use of my space. So right here is a Peperomia cubensis. Thank you to everybody on my Instagram who recently helped me find out what the identity of this is. But yes, Peperomia cubensis, a huge one. I've never seen a Peperomia this big before. Just amazing. And then right here is another Cissus rhombifolia. So this is grape leaf ivy. It's just growing all over the place. And then this is a little tiny Monstera deliciosa that I grown from a little baby plant. A Ficus elastica burgundy, so just a rubber plant. And then this is another Schefflera amate with the little purple stems. Alrighty, so now here's a Calathea orbifolia. So you can probably see that this Calathea orbifolia does receive some direct sunlight. So what I do is I have a fan blowing off camera onto the Calathea and into just this general area, because the sun is very low in the sky right now since it's wintertime. So it does hit my Calathea leaves, and since I don't want them to burn, I keep a fan blowing on them. So this just keeps the leaves kind of moving and doesn't make them curl up and just kind of suffer the way most Calatheas do if they are subject to direct sunlight. This Calathea orbifolia has been growing really well for me. Here's a new leaf right here that just unfurled, and you can see a few more kind of just like hiding behind the other leaves, but this plant is growing really well for me. I can't say that for most of my other Calatheas, so I'm really excited about that. And then we're going to work our way over to the shelf. So I'm going to turn off the purple lights, and we're going to start from the bottom and work our way over. So back here is Nipipronum aureum golden pothos, just a standard golden pothos, but this one's very yellow because it's right under the grow light. And then a very, very blue Epipronum pinnatum Cebu blue. It's been growing extremely well for me. My shelf is a mess, by the way. There is just perlite and soil everywhere, so you know, I'm not perfect. So yes, next to that is a Peperomia incana. Really fuzzy, fun little Peperomia. You can see it kind of growing towards the grow light that I have. And then another Maranta Leucanera kirchoviana. This one's probably a little dry from the look of that leaf that's a little curled up. Right here is a pink princess that I am growing from cutting. I cut my mother plant and it's just been rooting in water for quite a while. So I have some plans for this as time goes on. And then a Stromanthe behind all of this mess. This is just my little tiny Stromanthe sanguinea trio star that is known for the pink on the back of the leaves. And then my Tenanthe Burley Marxii, which is actually looking a little dusty. You could probably go in the shower. I find this plant, as prayer plants go, to be like the easiest going. I've had it for a very, very long time, and it's constantly growing for me, rather than other prayer plants that kind of just seem to die for me. But speaking of prayer plants that have been very easygoing, right here is a very popular one. This one is Calathea mosaica. I got this one from a friend, a very nice friend, and the patterns are just second to none. I think this is why this plant is so popular. This is a brand new leaf right here that has unfurled, and I think right here is another new leaf that had just unfurled. But even the older leaves, which are a little faded at this point, are still absolutely beautiful. Here's the largest one right here. Really, really stunning plant. Unfortunately, a little bit hard to find and a little bit expensive, but nonetheless, if you can get your hands on it, as long as you don't blast it with sunlight, I just keep it down here in the bottom corner, kind of away from the grow light, but it's also kind of, you know, in the direct sunlight's rays, but it's also right where I have the fan blowing on the plants. Right here is a Hoya. So this is Hoya carnosa rubra, I believe. So kind of similar to the tricolor I showed you earlier, and you'll see more of that later, but the difference is with the rubra that the white is on the inside of the leaves, while on the tricolor it's on the outside of the leaves. And right here is another Hoya. I believe this is Hoya pubicalix. I'm not too sure, but it has been growing some new leaves for me. I got this as cuttings from a friend last summer, and I've just noticed new growth on it now, which is wonderful because it's kind of just been, you know, doing nothing for a very long time. And then moving up to the next shelf, we'll get carried up by the Scindapsus pictus exotica. So just another one of those larger leaf Scindapsus. Really beautiful plant. A little bit more blue in this one. And then this is a maidenhair fern. It's actually growing for me in this little Buddha pot. So here's all the new fronds that have been growing. I posted about this on Instagram when I got it a long time ago, and I was like, I'm gonna kill this in a week. It's still alive, but my cat ate quite a bit of it, but as you can see, it's growing back quite well, and I think it looks really, really nice in the Buddha pot. And then here's a Calathea macoiana. I find this one to be a rather easygoing Calathea compared to the other ones. Really beautiful too. The purple on the back is just stunning. Then right here is a Sansevieria honeyi. So this is just a bird's nest type of Sansevieria. And then a Mingorelia right here that is variegated. This is a Hoya Wyetii that's been growing some new growth for me recently. It's got this one really long spindly vine that's got nothing on it till the end, so probably gonna let this one go for a little bit and then I'll cut it back and propagate it. And then here is the Hoya carnosa tricolor that I was talking about, so a little bit different from the rubra in the sense that the white's on the outside. Hiding back here is a Philodendron Brazil, and then a Calathea zebrina that I can tell really needs some water from the way it's just starting to curl in. That's the sign that Calatheas give you if they are either in need of water or getting too much light, but in this case I know that it's too little water. And then right behind that is another Calathea orbifolia. We're gonna kind of get a little shaded out here, but yes, another Calathea orbifolia, a smaller one that's been growing quite well. You can see some of the newer leaves coming in. And then another golden pothos, looking a little dusty, kind of just hangs out back there next to this neon pothos. So another epiprenum or epipremnum, whatever you want to say. And then up on the top shelf, I have this Peperomia scandens variegata. So it's just a more trailing type of peperomia. Behind that is a Begonia, my special angel. Really beautiful begonia with silver spots that shine in the light. A very fun peperomia here. This is Peperomia hoffmanii. Really fun, just kind of curtains and trails. I have it in this spherical pot, and you can't even see the spherical pot, unfortunately, because it's beautiful, but the plant is what the show is all about. Then hiding back here, I have some plants I'm propagating, so this is some of that Philodendron erubescens red emerald with a new leaf that's looking a little funky, so maybe I need to pay a little bit more attention to this guy. And another type of cissus. This is the grape leaf ivy, or I'm sorry, the oak leaf ivy, so it's another type of cissus rhombifolia. So it's similar to the grape leaf ivy I've had in the part 1 and also earlier in part 2 of this video. This is a Philodendron gloriosum. Hasn't grown that well for me. I have it right into the grow light right now to see what can happen, but I don't really know. It's not the easiest philodendron in my opinion, although it's very, very popular on Instagram right now. And here's a few types of Pilea. So this is a Pilea Kaderii, I think. They also call it aluminum plant, and I have it directly under the grow light, and it is just loving life. And then another type of Pilea right here. This is Pilea pubescens silver cloud. So silver, like it shines. I have never seen a plant this silver. I don't even know how it photosynthesizes because there's just like no green in this plant. Here's another one of those plants that I think looks very native and just like you kind of pull it out of the sidewalk and throw it in a pot. This is Calathea repens variegata, so it's just like or they call it pink jewel, I think. The variegation isn't very much, as you can see. I kind of just love it for its attitude as a plant, the way it kind of just becomes a curtain, and then you can see the plants are hiding under here. But it really loves this grow light. But the variegation is what people are most into, as you can see a little bit of white right here. Back here, this is a Philodendron pedatum. It's looking like it's got a little funky mark right here. I don't know if that's just a mutation. It's definitely not variegation, but I don't know what they call this plant. It's a type of philodendron, but I really, really like the wings that it gets. So that one had been on my wish list for quite some time. I actually got this one from the Arium Botanicals, which is your local plant boy on Instagram's plant shop. Does packaged plants insanely well. I couldn't even believe how well they came. And then I have some really interesting ones over here. So this is Peperomia piccolo banda, a really, really fun peperomia. I'd fallen in love with it on Instagram, and I couldn't find it anywhere until my friends who owned the plant shop down the street from me called Ill Exotics, ILL Exotics. They had it, and of course I bought it up right away. Here is a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma that I am propagating. It's got a few leaves on it, as you can see. Here is a Philodendron Brantianum that is just starting to get back on track. I was kind of struggling with this one a little bit. Really, really beautiful plant. And then here's a really fun one that unfortunately is going to be really hard to see. This is Monstera spa Peru. You'll probably see this plant on Instagram as Monstera carstenianum, but it is just a beautiful monstera that is very, very hard to find here in the US. The leaves are just like crocodile skin. You can see a new leaf coming up right there, but a super fun one, and anybody who collects plants would be ecstatic to add this to their collection. And I have just a few more plants to show you guys on this shelf. So this is another Tradescanthia Spaathaceae variegata. It's kind of barren up top, but I have a neon pothos right here, which is just kind of growing down. As you can see, as it gets farther down, it gets more neon, so it gets more of a gradient pattern. Here's a purple heart, or Tradescanthia pallida. More of an outdoor plant, but I do grow it indoors, and I find it grows quite well. It just kind of looks a little bit more funky, has a little bit more character. And then the last plant on this shelf is my Ceropegia woodii, or my string of hearts. Super popular plant right now on Instagram. But mine is just absolutely prolific. I love watching this one grow. Kind of just hangs out with my calathea orbifolia down here. Working our way around the room, right here is a calathea rufibarba, or a fuzzy calathea, I think they call it, or a velvet calathea. I'm not too sure exact on the common name, but a really, really fun calathea. I think this one's kind of got a little bit of spider mites right now, but taking care of it. And then another calathea right here, Calathea Freddi. I find this one to be immensely easy. I know there's some yellow leaves, but I've had this plant for years and it's still alive. Not years, let's say like 2 years I've had it, but really, really excellent plant. I find the calatheas that are green on the back to be a little bit easier than the ones with purple per se. But this is a Stromanthe right here. A little bit more of a difficult to find Stromanthe. This is Stromanthe stromantoides Charlie. So I think it's just Stromanthe Charlie is its common name. Really beautiful plant. Reminds me of those variegated gingers you see down south. And then hiding underneath is this Sansevieria. I think this is another Sansevieria Gold Flame. And then over here is a mess of Monstera. So first off, there's these Monstera deliciosa cuttings that I have rooting in this jar right here that are totally in my way, but I didn't really have anywhere else to put them, so they're just kind of hanging out here. And then I have this Monstera adansonii hiding underneath that is not on a totem yet, but from the way that my adansonii totem's been growing in the living room that you saw in part 1, I absolutely have to get this one staked on a totem ASAP. Then over to this window right here, which I will say is very bright. This is a south-facing window, and I think that some of these plants are receiving a little bit too much light, as you will see. But other than that, they're growing very, very well. So let's go start right over here. This is a croton. Not normally an indoor plant, although they're always sold in indoor plant sections, but a really, really prolific, easy to grow plant for me. I find you just water it once it wilts, which is like once a week. Just give it a really good soak. It loves light, so the more light you can give this plant, the better. Under it is a Crassula ovata, or jade plant, and a Sansevieria golden honii. Then right here, this is another type of epiphyllum, or rickrack cactus. And then a Peperomia serpens right here. Really, really fun little trailing peperomia. Not that common in my opinion, but nothing spectacular, but I always love to collect new peperomias. It's going to be a very sunny window, I do apologize. This is a Peperomia elongata back here. Really, really fun peperomia. Just needs a lot of light, and not like a lot of light. I think it kind of is shaded out by the plants right here. You can see my little group partner bud pot right here. But yeah, really, really fun plant. I love peperomias. Peperomias are very popular right now, so anytime I find a new variety, I have to give it a go. This is a Hoya carrii, or heartleaf Hoya. I'll give you a better look at this over here. Really, really popular. A lot of the plants I keep in this windowsill are rather popular, just like this Pilea peperomioides right here. Really fun little plant. Chinese money plant, pancake plant, friendship plant, whatever you want to call it. You saw a few more in part 1. This is a rather hard to find peperomia, Peperomia trinervis. A little bit more bronzy in color. And then a Ceropegia woodii variegata. So just a variegated version of the string of hearts that I showed you earlier that was like 6 feet long. This one's only about like a foot long maximum, if even, but I definitely need to get to cutting it soon because I finally have some to work with. Then right here is another type of peperomia. It's Peperomia ruby cascade. You can see it's got some nice trails or cascading vines, and it's got a nice ruby color on the back. So really fun peperomia that unfortunately isn't too common in cultivation in the US quite yet, but it'll get there. This is a peperomia rosso, which is definitely getting a little too much sunlight, as you can see by this color. So maybe after this video, I will consider pulling it back quite a bit. Then this is a peperomia polybatria. Looks just like that Pilea peperomioides, but this one is a peperomia. It's just like I had one in part 1 that was a little bit mottled on top of the microwave. I don't really know what the deal is, but this one's just in full sun and loving life, so maybe that one needs a little bit more sunlight. Then right here is a peperomia rubella. This one is just so much fun. It's all over the place. I love it when my plants get some character to them, but the red on the back is just stunning. I will say, when I find these plants in stores, they normally have leaves that are much larger, but the leaves have all kind of fallen off. Here's a little bit of a larger leaf, as you can see right here from when I first bought it, but all of the new leaves that have come in have been quite a bit smaller regardless of how much light it receives, so don't be alarmed if yours at home has gotten quite a bit smaller. Then right here is peperomia hope. Similar to the peperomia boyvinia I showed you earlier in the bathroom. This one's a little bit more common though in cultivation. And then peperomia peresciifolia. I really love this peperomia because I think it kind of ties together like the peperomia hope and the peperomia tetragona, which you saw in part 1, as well as the red kind of on the back of like the peperomia rubella. So a really, really fun kind of plant right here. Don't see it that often either. And then here, I kind of was thinking about getting rid of this before I filmed this video, but I just wanted to show you guys I am not perfect and I kill plants as well. So here is a peperomia prostrata, which is just well on its way out right now. Sorry, there's a leaf blocking the camera. Well on its way out. I don't know if it was too much light, which probably was, or if it was too dry or too wet. I just really don't know what I did wrong with this plant, but maybe I'll give it another go in the future. This is a sedum little missy, they call it. Really cute. I don't normally grow that many succulents, but I figured, you know, in the south-facing window, why not? And then I have a few little propagation jars up here. So this is a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, while right here is a Monstera adansonii. And then just 2 more plants to show you guys. So this is a Scindapsus pictus that is growing all over the place, just like the one you saw in part 1 in my living room. This one's probably a little bit longer than the other one though, from the way it grows all the way down the window. So it starts here, grows all the way around, and then grows all the way down. So really, really fun plant. I think it's about time I move this one over with these vines from how long it is. And then the last plant for our houseplant tour, finally, is this lemon lime philodendron. Just a classic heartleaf philodendron that is lemon lime instead. And there we have it. I am sure I missed a few plants. There are far too many for me to have touched on all of them, but hopefully I touched on at least 200 of them to show you guys. I'm sure there are not 200 different varieties of plants, just 200 potted plants. If I had to guess how many varieties I had, I'd probably say only around like 130. I feel like I have a lot of doubles in my house. But hopefully I showed you guys a new plant, opened your eyes to something new. As I said in part 1, if you are wondering about what a plant is called, just leave it in the comment and the time that it appeared, and I will do my best to get back to you. There are just far too many plants to leave a full list of all of the plants that I own. But yes, any questions, I will do my best to get back to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am so excited to be able to show you guys all of the plants I have acquired in the last few months since I have been working at my job, and there are going to be far many more in the future, so stay prepared. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.